James, the only son of Mary, Queen of Scots, and Henry Stuart, was born in 1566. At the time, there was an ongoing conflict between Scotland and England. When he was just 1 year old, he became King James VI of Scotland after his mother abdicated the throne. Later, he became King James I of England as well. Some of James's achievements include eventually bringing peace between Scotland and England and commissioning a new translation of the Bible. However, his reign is also infamous for witch hunts and burning many people accused of witchcraft. Quite the mix of accomplishments. Today we're going to explore the life of King James I, the witch-burning son of Mary, Queen of Scots. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments which infamous royals you'd like us to cover next. The violent religious conflict during the Protestant Reformation, along with the bitter history between Queen Elizabeth I of England and Mary, Queen of Scots, deeply influenced James's reign. These events made him eager to control political power while being fearful of the supernatural, despite the fact that ghosts don't exist, hopefully. After taking over Scotland as an infant, James later became King of England after Elizabeth's death in 1603. His reign was marked by widespread witch hunts, trials, and executions across the British Isles, all fueled by his belief in the religious and spiritual dangers of witchcraft. James saw himself as a ruler chosen by divine authority, which is why he was so fixated on religious matters, from commissioning the King James Bible in 1604 to his obsessive fear of witchcraft. Although he managed to unify the warring kingdoms of Scotland and England, it wasn't an easy road to peace, and the witch hunts certainly didn't help. Or did they? James was born into a deeply divided world, split between Catholics and Protestants. His mother, a devout Catholic, had him baptized into the faith as a baby, hoping he would follow in her footsteps and continue the tradition of Catholic monarchs ruling Protestant Scotland. However, when Mary abdicated the throne in 1567, she lost the right to raise her son. James was instead brought up as a Protestant under the care of his tutor, George Buchanan, who taught him to despise his mother's Catholic faith. James's obsession with witchcraft was well known throughout his rule in both Scotland and England. It's even said to have inspired William Shakespeare's play, Macbeth. If you've read Macbeth, you'll know that being the inspiration for such a tragic story isn't exactly something to be proud of. The depiction of witches in the play closely follows James' own descriptions from his book Demonology, a text he wrote to outline his beliefs about witchcraft and the supernatural. James became convinced that witches were responsible for the storms that delayed his wife Anne's journey to Scotland after their marriage. This belief sparked the North Berwick witch trials of 1590, one of the largest witch hunts in Scottish history. James's fear of witchcraft led him to initiate a series of trials, and under torture, the accused witches confessed and implicated others. In total, at least 70 people were accused of witchcraft, and most were sentenced to death. Throughout Europe, the hysteria over witches primarily targeted women. Historian Susanna Lipscomb estimates that 70 to 80% of those accused during this period were women. James believed women were more susceptible to witchcraft because he saw them as weaker and more easily influenced by the devil. Scholar Deborah Willis even theorized that James targeted women in the witch trials to rid himself of the oppressive female influences of his mother and Queen Elizabeth. During his reign in England, James passed a new Witchcraft Act in 1604, which intensified punishments for those convicted of witchcraft. Under this act, witches could be hanged, even if they hadn't physically harmed anyone. James believed that witches were trying to destroy him, viewing himself as the devil's greatest enemy on earth. James was so determined to spread awareness of the dangers of witchcraft that he sponsored a pamphlet called News from Scotland, which sensationalized the North Berwick trials and fueled public fear. His fascination with the supernatural led him to write Demonology, which detailed various forms of witchcraft and how to identify those practicing it. However, James wasn't always convinced by allegations of witchcraft. In one notable case involving a woman named Anne Gunter, he personally questioned her and exposed her claims of possession as a hoax. Anne and her father had fabricated the story to get revenge on their enemies. The tragedies in James's early life may have also influenced his obsession with the occult. His father died in an explosion when James was very young, and his mother was eventually executed by Queen Elizabeth I. After inheriting the Scottish throne as a baby and watching the turmoil around him, it's understandable that James would become fixated on control and divine power. Religion and politics were inseparable in early modern Europe, and James used the Bible to assert his authority. By commissioning a new translation of the Bible, known today as the King James Bible, he hoped to unify various Protestant groups and reinforce his own legitimacy as king. Contrary to popular belief, James didn't translate the Bible himself, but assembled a team of scholars to do the work. After years of revision and approval, the King James Bible was completed and became one of the most influential religious texts in history. James's reign may have been defined by religious divisions and witch hunts, but his greatest legacy was uniting the crowns of Scotland and England. When Queen Elizabeth died in 1603, James became the ruler of both kingdoms, a major step toward unifying the two nations. Though he faced many challenges, including his own superstitions, James is remembered for creating lasting peace between Scotland and England. So what's your take on King James? Was he a visionary leader or just another superstitious royal? Let us know in the comments below, and thanks for watching this video. Before we are ending the video, please make sure to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.